in order to turn on my microphone, and then from there we are going to open up ye old cellular and check out audio balance, because it's a game as old as time. To dance as old a time, a game as old as the cosmos themselves. Yeah. We've got to see how my audio is mixing between the music that we play for the vibes and my microphone that you use to hear me pander to the things that stuck out to me, which is totally not what a book review is. If you don't know what that is, that was a whole ass ridiculous fucking comment I got on my YouTube video for, I think it was the third book in the Septimus Heap series, where like someone said, like in the video, I think we're good audio wise, but like in the video I was like, oh my god, like this character Septimus goes back in time and is like in a completely different time. We don't spend any time with him, instead we spend it with a shitting dragon. And because why would time travel is not interesting anyway? And this person's like, it's called world building, you know? Shit, it's the foundation of what we all are. Stop pandering to things that stick out to you. It was a whole thing. I posted on my Twitter, so if you're not following me on Twitter, Firestorm2343, go check me out there, because I'm honestly, I talk mostly there. Speaking of I talk mostly there, let me share this here stream to my subscribers, so that way, you know, y'all know to come hang out with me. I will be there in I also have like a super cool like thing I want to try and do with my stream today. That's exciting. I'm excited for it. So let's. And again, okay, back to it. I have a cat who's probably gonna get super fussy here in like 38 seconds. Where'd he go? I don't even know where he went. There he is. But yeah, so, can't figure out where to put this phone because it doesn't have like a pop socket on anything on it, so it just doesn't stay where I put it. There we go. Salutations, friends. My name is Brianna Sukiyama Bond, otherwise known as No Ordinary Scholar, and today we are going to be talking about Training School for Negro Girls by Camille Acker. It's gonna be an interesting stream. And again, if you've been seeing me chatting up on my Twitter, I have lots to say about this. There's a good chance, though, I'm not going to be able to get as heated as I feel inside because somebody accidentally took my drowsing medication this morning, and so we're feeling it. We're struggling a little bit. But I'm gonna do my best. Just know that there's a good chance in like 4 to 6 business months you might see a full-length video on this. But here we go. It's very possible that this stream might be longer than the other ones usually are, because this is not just a novel, it is a collection of short stories all within the theme of the Training School for Negro Girls. That's what it is. So we're going to be covering a bunch of different short stories. We're not going to touch on all of them because not all of them left an impression on me, if we're being 100% honest. And then there are 2 in particular that we are going to focus on because they are the 2 that have me in such a tizzy. Though it's not even like, the issue is it's not even really the stories themselves that have me in a tizzy. Granted, you're going to see in this surprise here, I've never used the word coon more in my life than I did when writing up my notes for this book, because Oh my god, that's exactly what's going on. That's exactly what these people are. That's exactly what's going on. I also have these heated gloves because I have nerve issues in my hands and my hands get cold. And I saw a author that had little heated gloves for the desk, and I immediately did that. I immediately copied them, but in my defense, they gave me the option to copy. It was in their Amazon storefront, so that means I'm supposed to copy. But anyway, super cool surprise is I'm actually just gonna have my notes for my reading up here, so you can see, you can have some cool stuff to look at. This is not an invitation to judge my handwriting. I have poor handwriting. I always have. May or may not be because of the tism. We don't know. But yeah, so we're going to chat up about this. We have the we have some like points about the different stories. I'm not going to go fully in order because there's one story in particular that I want to take some time to vent about. Okay, and so we're going to get to that one last. But there's another one that we are going to take some more time to vent about, but that one's just, we need that one to be in the middle somewhere, okay? So let's start out. So we start out, is the audio getting louder? Is it freaking out now? This is what happens when you don't have friends to help you with audio and making sure things sound good. I think for the most part it's good. For the most part it's good. So let's start out. First story. The very first story, as far as I remember, because again, some of these left literally no impression on me. The first story is this girl named Ellery. She is a young black girl, which, for the record, all of the main characters in each of these short stories are either black girls or black women. So we have Ellery, a girl. She travels to the rich white neighborhoods to take piano lessons because her parents think that would be that would lead to better opportunities for her. That would be better training or something. It would look better on a lot of different paperwork if she was taking those classes up by the white neighborhoods, right? So she is taking these piano lessons up there, and this time around for the story we're talking about, she has a piano recital. She gets the recital, and this little white child, this white girl, is being she's being such a bitch. And I will show you in my notes, like half of my notes of this section are am I going to have to fight a child? I'm going to beat this child. I'm just so this white girl is just being a full-on raging shit to Ellery the whole time, but my girl Ellery won. This white girl, like, the entire time she's like, you're not that good, that like my playing was real playing. And then when Ellery wins, she has the audacity winning's just for fun anyway. And my girl Ellery hit him with the line, yeah, it was fun when I won. Ooh, I took a lap on that line. I was excited. We were ecstatic. So there's that storyline. Next one I want to talk about is you have this girl named Bit and her friend Callie, who I'm gonna be honest, in multiple different ways, these two girls are me. Like, we be talking about Janet Jackson. We all know fucking choreography to all her music videos. We are lots of peas in the same pods. She, I believe, is like she's coming to the end of her school year, and I believe she's about to transition from middle school to high school. And while that's going on, her brother is graduating from high school, and their father is just dumping so much excessive pressure and such high expectations on him to the and it's so infuriating the way their father constantly is just talking to him. And there's a point in the book where, because her brother has been using this one black kid from their area that got into like the pro basketball and has been like, maybe like this is a sign that I can actually just follow my dreams. That guy dies in a car crash. Dad uses this again to be like, that's why you gotta do what I want you to do. And I swear on my life, this story is either like the beginning of a story in which a kid offs themselves because of the high expectations their parents put on them, because that's exactly what this father does. He's just constantly heaping pressure on him, making him feel like he would be worth nothing unless he follows what his dad wants him to do in life. And either that, or, and I say it somewhere, but where is it? Just, I like, if this son ends up never ever speaking to his father again because of the way his daughter, or because of the way his father is like talking down to him, making him feel pathetic and stuff like that, if he decides to never speak to his father again, it would be literally the least surprising thing in all of literature. This is the exact reason why. This is exactly why kids don't talk to your parents. This is why people are like, yeah. The fuck is this? Like, this is exactly why people are like, no. Like, you guys are always saying, like, oh, my kids never call me. You ain't give them a reason to call. Like, you pushed them away. Then they left. That's how it happens. 1 + 1. Do the math. And I'll take this time to say, like, the writing, the descriptive language in this story is just so well done. Like this line right here: the flash went off and the picture shot out of the front of the camera, a tongue teasing anyone watching. Ronnie fanned the picture back and forth. If you don't know what we're talking about here, I'm gonna need you to just not say anything on this one. You can't be making me feel that old right now. There's a line right here. He, as in the son, he stood straight even with the hopes of the crowd and the heavy hand of their father on his back. There was another one with bit. Why are you just getting in? I was at Callie's, Bit said. The lie came out fast and fluid. Ronnie had been lying. Callie definitely had been lying and betraying. Her father didn't want her to hear the truth. Growing older meant hiding things from people, and Bit felt more mature today than she ever had. And this one right here, this was one of my favorite ones from the story. She took down the pictures of Janet, New Edition, and Wham. Maybe she would hang them in her locker next year, or maybe she would care too much about new things to hold on to all that she used to love. Like, the descriptive language in these stories are so good. I am absolutely obsessed. Next. Here's the one. Here's where it starts to get to a point where I feel like the people reading this book didn't get this book. And I say that because I read the book. And there was a line, we'll get to that line later, that was one of the, like, oh my god, popular highlights on Amazon. And it made me deeply uncomfortable that I had, like, no context and no, like, I couldn't see what notes people were leaving with this notes, because it was truly it was such a terrible line. So I went back and looked at the reviews, and people were relating to some bad characters, and one of the characters was the person that wrote this college essay. And so in this short, it's supposed to be the finished draft of a college essay. It's like, this is the essay this character has written. In this essay, the entire essay is just bitching and moaning about some bad friends that she had. And the way she does this, the way this character goes about this, just oozes. It's dripping in anti-blackness. And like an example of it, like the broadest, boldest example of how anti-black and how anti-black this character is, and how you're not supposed to find her as a fucking superhero. There's a point where she, again, in a college essay, one of the things she promotes as a good trait for her in her college essay is that she doesn't listen to hip hop except for good rap like Macklemore. And I've like that line right there is supposed to be the line that tells you she is, because of what happened with her ex-friends, she is deciding to throw all of blackness under the bus. She is trying to distance herself from blackness to try to get whatever power and superiority is held in whiteness, in a white supremacist society. And that's where you get the training school that the book is trying to refer to. It is anti-blackness. It is assimilation into a white supremacist society. That is what they are training you to do. And that is why in this book, because people were also mentioning this in the reviews, is that the reason why you have only all these stories of miserable, terrible women is because we're specifically talking about women that have fallen victim and fallen prey to this system of white supremacy. Back to how it reflects in this fucking essay. Another reason why I'm like, why do you guys, like, it's weird that you guys are, like, cozying up to this character is because she is just as judgmental and obnoxious as her ex-friends, where she's just judgmental and obnoxious in a different way, and now it has rooted itself in anti-blackness, in shaming them for being teenagers and for being black women. She even says, like, oh my god, while other people were kissing and going to parties, I wasn't, and I'm better for that. Like, the thing that's weird, worse, like, I genuinely would have thrown this fucking essay in the trash. I hope she falls on her face, because the thing is, her only real ability, it seems, to find value in herself is in believing that she is better than others for not being black. And that, like, that's where her entire source of value in this essay comes from, is she is better than these girls because she does not participate in these teen and these black activities. And on top of that, like, ignoring that, if we're going to, like, just pause on that topic altogether for 1 minute, the essay is just bad because it's so fucking childish. The whole thing, again, she spends the whole time bitching about these other girls, and there's a line at the very beginning of the fucking story that absolutely terrible line would have been the thing that made me, we're gonna stop here. We're not even gonna go any further. Is, hello? Can I help you? The line that would have been like, hey, we're not gonna go a step fucking further with this story is right about, can I help you? I said shnikes. The thing that I would have been like, yeah, no, we're actually just going to throw it away. We're gonna throw the whole essay away is, honestly, everything she says is terrible. Everything this girl says is just bad and inaccurate, but one of her opening lines is when they tortured people and asked them a lot of things about what they thought about stuff in Spain. It was called the Spanish Inquisition. This is similar to what my parents do. This is a college fucking essay. Not only, like, insert one of those fucking Kardashian clips. People are dying, Kim. Like, literally, you're taking a scenario in which people were murdered, brutalized, and comparing it to your parents asking questions about your day. Like, this reads like a fucking Junie B. Jones. This reads like, at most, a middle schooler, but this is supposed to be a college fucking essay. That's, like, it just reads so childish and pathetic. That's one of the big issues I have with this whole thing. The next line is, again, those, like, she's trying to distance herself from teenagers and teenage behavior and trying to set herself up as being better because she does not she does not reflect those ideas of teenagers and blackness. Well, she says, secondly, I am alone a lot. I think this makes me more introspective and a thoughtful person. I'm an independent thinker because I do not have a crew of friends who try to get me to think the way they think, which is just factually incorrect. And again, one of those scenarios where you are just trying to like find superiority in the ways that she is different, but is like intent on making it something about superiority. Because the fact of the matter is, no, not having friends does not mean that you are a fucking independent thinker, because there are other people in your world, in your life that you come across, whether it be like the news, your parents. There are other sources of humans to influence you. Just because you don't have friends doesn't mean you think all by yourselves. And again, introspective and thoughtful person probably would have been like, hey, maybe at the very least this petty ass, childish ass Spanish Inquisition line wouldn't make, that's not the tone, that's not the vibe for a college essay. Oh my god. And like, it's one of those things of, something that comes across, that I've seen like come across and pop up on Twitter several times, is the idea that like, were popular kids really the bullies at your school? Because a lot of people are like, no, it was some random fucking nerd that was bullying me in school. She is that nerd. She is that bitchy ass nerd picking on kids because she thinks she's better than everyone, but she just sucks. I mean, I agree, your friends do not seem like good people, but you suck. You suck. I wouldn't want to fuck with you either. Oh my god. So some other of these stories that we're talking about, some other of these, so the next story from this point, this is kind of the bridge into the stories about women. And it makes sense because, again, you kind of see this girl go from like her experiences of not fitting in or not receiving the power or the attention or the care that she wanted, and she's seeking that out in other ways by like diving headfirst into white supremacy and into this bigoted, ignorant ass fucking line of thought. And that's the bridge between the innocence of a girl and the bitterness of these women. Another story we get is of this TSA worker who is like a prime example of a woman who doesn't have any power in her life, and so she enforces, and she like brutally enforces power in her job to feel powerful, to feel like she has control somewhere. And so she's an abusive TSA agent. She, like, there's a man in crutches, and she's upset that his hobbling is holding up the line. And so she ends up, like, forcing him to do extra security checks, literally just for the power of it all. And it gets to the point where she is so desperate to maintain control of this job that someone came up to her line with papers from like a embassy, from a country's embassy, and those should have been enough to get her through and onto the plane, but this woman did not know that, and she did not. And when the person with the papers was like, can I speak to like a manager so I can talk to them, she refused and she lashed out. The woman with the papers tried to walk past her. She grabs the woman, tears her shirt, and gets fired because, again, she's just desperate to maintain that control in this place, when to the point where she has abused that control. And we also have stories from there to a story of a woman that's like full coon, just in the most blatant way. Literally, she's trying to get into some high society club that is for black people, but they want to make black people not like black people. They have a whole fundraiser called Say No to Naps, in which they get hair relaxers for young girls so they don't have nappy hair. It's like that's that vibe right there of what I just said. That's the whole story. That's their whole people. And last but not least, we have the story of Dawn, who is a teacher at a prep school in DC. And during the story, she is trying to get this white woman elected as DC. I believe it's governor. I don't remember. And she's doing that by pressuring and forcing stuff about this election onto her 5th grade class of students. One of whose name is Ebony, is loud and impatient and comes from the southeast side of the town, which is the more black neighborhoods. The black contender in the election, Barry, wins, and the teacher is mad. Dawn, she's mad because she's like, he just got elected because he's black. We're gonna come back to that. The next day, Dawn sees Ebony and this other girl who Dawn sees herself in because she doesn't seem like other black girls. The other girl scraped her knee, and Dawn immediately punishes Ebony for it. No evidence, no nothing, but she immediately punishes Ebony for it and sends her to the principal. The principal's like, well, we really can't do anything actually about this because we don't know what happened. Dawn then lies and says she kicked Ebony, lies and then says she saw Ebony kick the other girl, which gets Ebony kicked out of the school. Here is, I have to be 100% honest. If you read this book, if you read this story, and you thought that the people of DC, or even just the kids in that class, only voted for Barry and only wanted Barry elected because he was black, not only did you miss the point of the whole fucking book, but you are also participating in perpetuating the ignorance, the bigotry, the stigma against blackness that Dawn is dripping in, because everything about Dawn is so bigoted and anti-black. And again, if we, the reason why I know for a fact that, you missed the point of the book if you did not catch on to that, is because in this class, I spent half a class with these kids, and I know that that's not what they voted for him for, because Ebony herself lists that one of the reasons why she thinks he would be good is because the shootings dropped in her neighborhood because he started giving summer jobs to kids, so they weren't on the streets shooting. And that is a major reason why someone might want someone elected, is because they pay attention to the needs of that community and voted because those needs were met, and it led to better outcomes. It was explicitly said in the text, but Dawn just has so much fucking stigma, so much bigotry, so much ignorance for blackness. It's absurd. I mean, there's also another example of the fucking bigotry of this teacher is you have a moment where you have a group of black boys are playing a game, and one of them's like, I killed you, you're dead, and Dawn makes a note that it sounded like gang warfare. That itself is bigotry. And there's another short story, I don't remember much of it, where there's this girl and some other black kids start yelling and getting close to someone on a train and freaking them out. It is bigotry to associate this with gang violence, with violence at all, because that is only attached to them because they are black. White kids have white kids have grown up with the fucking game based on the literal slaughter, massacre, genocide of indigenous people. It's Cowboys and Indians or something like that. You would never associate, you would never hear that and be like, oh, sounds like they're colonizing, or sounds like they're fucking mass murderers. No, it's but this is not an uncommon thing to have a game in which you being out is referred to you being dead or killed. That's not uncommon. That is not exclusive to black kids. But when black kids do it, you associate it with violence. Same with the thing on the train. Teenagers will be obnoxious and loud and harass people on a fucking train. But it's when they are black kids that is associated with violence. That is bigotry. That is ignorance. That it's so infuriating to see, like, that right there is a prime example of anti-blackness, of ignorance, of bigotry, of systemic bigotry. Also her, like, trying to perpetuate herself as some sort of hero for working with black kids. It's absolutely, like, this woman's absolutely disgusting. Like, here's the line Ebony says about Barry. He's from my neighborhood. He represents Southeast, and he's black. He's done a lot for the city. My mom says people got jobs because of him, and there weren't as many knuckleheads out here on these streets shooting each other because Barry gave them summer jobs. And besides, my cousins say we can't have any white lady running the city. Chocolate City, not white chocolate city. Like, yes, she mentioned it, but Dawn's next fucking statement is, we don't vote based on race or on geography. And then later, when the kids voted for Barry, she said kids don't know anything. She said a thing. At the very least, let's pretend to at least acknowledge the statements that she made. That would be something. But no, to completely dismiss and ignore all the valid reasons she listed, and say that no, these kids have to be voting for him, these people have to be voting for him just because he's black, is to completely you're just ignoring what people are saying because it makes you, I don't know. I don't even know why for this. There's also so much fucking stigma against, because Barry used to be an addict, and there's so much stigma around that this teacher perpetuates. This woman's infuriating. I can't stand her. I genuinely am infuriated. But again, like, the descriptive language in this book is fantastic. Like, here, you have Dawn asks, she layered encouragement over her irritation, soaking up the Potomac with a wad of paper towels. Ebony dragged her limbs in Dawn's classroom time behind her. Like, it's like this is, it was so infuriating. And it was so, the line that they say, it's that the line that people were highlighting and were like, that was one of the popular highlights that stressed me out, was after they kick this girl out of the school, the principal says, we have to reserve our efforts for those who will pay off in the end, invest in the ones who will show a profit. Not only is this like, that line is uncomfortable in general because these are children, not, like, they're not money. Like, this is to objectify the students as things that will bring you money. This is quite literally dehumanizing all of these students to say this in this way, for one. For two, again, when this line is said as a result of actions that came about from lying on this child, from jumping to your assumptions on this child, for perpetuating your stigmas and your bigotry on this child because she did not assimilate in the way that you feel she should have, and she is too Southeast, as the teacher had fucking said herself. The fact that people have excessively highlighted this note makes me extremely uncomfortable, because do you understand, like, this is the super villain line of the story. This is not a good thing. These are children, these are people, they all need to learn, they all need a chance, and again, they all need an encouraging and safe space to exist. This teacher has not been that at all for her. But to show support for something that says that, to show support for a line that is like brought about by deep discrimination and by deep like bigotry of these teachers and of their work, is, it makes me so uncomfortable. I don't appreciate that people, I don't appreciate that I don't have context. I wish I could see notes, and I hope these notes are like, oh my god, fuck this person, oh my god, you suck, this isn't how you treat people. This is like 2 degrees away from literal Nazi propaganda. It's oh my god, like, everyone has value. I'm very upset. This is exhausting. This line genuinely, like, knocked at my ability to have faith in humans. I'm not gonna lie. So let's wrap up though. Let's wrap up with this book. Did I like this book? Yes. Oh god, I'm breaking everything. Did I like this book? Yes, I liked it a lot. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It just stresses me out. But this book isn't supposed to be a feel-good camp book, right? It's supposed to, like, I felt the things I was supposed to feel about it. It just, like, I would not at all recommend picking this up if you're just looking for a good time. Yeah, that's pretty much everything I have to say. Again, we might make another stream kind of tidying up and re-chatting about particularly the essay and Dawn's story in this book. But that's it all from me on this book for right now. The next stream that we're going to be doing is going to be The People of Ostrich Mountain, and don't actually know when we're going to be having that stream. I'll let you know how long it takes me to do and gather my notes on it. Hold me to it. Today I'm going to be uploading these notes as well as my notes to several past books that I've been behind on to my Patreon. So hold me to that. If you want to subscribe to my Patreon, you get to see like all of the notes, all 18 pages of notes I took on this book, as well as the notes for all of, or at least a lot of the other books that I've been streaming on. I don't remember when I started uploading these to Patreon. But yeah, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time. Bye, Addictions friends.